First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone that I learned is true. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, the 1/3, the 144,000. Peace and salutations to the brethren and all the sisters that listen to this truth, and all the people that listen to GMS. Peace and blessings to you. Well, as you already heard from all the brethren, hopefully you have already heard. Well, if you have not heard, you were here today. Executive order was passed that Trump is no longer going to have homeless people be on these streets. And someone will hear that and say, oh, that's a good thing. No more homeless people on the streets? Wow, he must really be cleaning up America. Well, that's a good thing. Why would you hate on Donald Trump for that? Well, I'm not going to hate on Donald Trump, but I will bring the truth out about the effects that this will have negatively on the people. That's what I will bring out, because that needs to be brought out. And these videos I'm going to post, once again, YouTube, I'm not getting no money off of these videos. So any video that I copy from someone, fair use. I'm only using these videos to teach and to educate. So please stop putting strikes on my channel. Thank you very much. I love using YouTube. So I'm gonna show you some of the titles to some of these videos. And as you can see, since this thing went out, everybody's talking about it. I mean, extra, read all about it. So, but the reason why I want to go into this one, I've seen a lot of videos on it, but the reason why I want to go into this one, because I would say this one right here, if you own a vehicle and you live out of it, or even if you own an RV, let's say you're someone that owns an RV and you like to camp and you want to travel or even go camping, how this administration is moving forward, it's going to be hard to even do that. It's going to be hard for you to even try to live off the grid, because unless you own your land. Because if you look at it, United States have always had camping areas where you can pull in with your RV, camp there, pay a little fee. They got bathrooms and stuff like that, camping grounds. Where I live at, I'm not too far from D.C. But where I used to live at was near College Park. And they had a camping ground over there in College Park, Maryland. They had a camping ground there. Now that I'm here in Baltimore, they have a few camping grounds not too far from me. But just imagine that they're going to cut this stuff short. And also, with that being said, with going to Walmart, a lot of times I used to go to Walmart and I used to always see these big bus-looking campers. Those that got the money, these $100,000 campers. And people will park their buses in that parking lot of Walmart and travel the whole country, which I think is a good thing. Who wouldn't want to see all the lands that, from the Father, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai created. See all the trees and mountains and stuff like that. But they're not allowing people to sleep in their vehicles. And if you think about it, a lot of times people use their vehicles as a stepping stone to not be homeless. I have actually met people that used to sleep in their vehicle, turn their life around, saved up their money, and was able to buy a home or apartment. Some even bought apartment complexes because they was living in their car, so they ain't really had too many expenses. They'll go to the gym, Gold's Gym or Planet Fitness, shower up, clean themselves, cook in their car, go to camping grounds and stuff like that. All that stuff is about to be obsolete. And I think that is really not good. But I'm bringing this out to show people where we are going in these last hours of the last days. So I'm going to play this video right here. Fair use, fair use. I'm gonna only use a little bit because it's about 12 hours long because I want to bring out some scriptures.
Check this out. I'm going to show you. Of Glorious Life on Wheels. Today, I want to talk to you about a new executive order that was signed into effect last week. I believe it's going to have an absolutely devastating impact on people living in vans or other vehicles. But there's also a component to this new executive order that, to me, has potentially sinister overtones and could, in my opinion, at some point deprive some van dwellers and vehicle dwellers of their very freedom. Come on and join me, and I'll tell you all about my concerns. For those of you who are not aware, a new executive order was signed by the President dealing with homelessness on July 24th of this year. I was actually able to read a copy of the executive order, and the title of it, from what I could determine, is Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets. Based on what I read, it appears the focus of the executive order is to outlaw and disband any homeless encampments throughout the country, particularly in urban areas. But the thing that's disturbing
Urban areas
to me is how it's set forth.
That's right outside the city limits.
For the last decade or more, the philosophy in this country in dealing with those that are homeless has been housing first initiatives. In other words, the thinking was, if you have people who are living on the streets, your first priority was to get them housed, to get them off the streets and into safe and secure housing with a roof over their heads. Then, if they had other issues that needed to be dealt with, such as substance abuse or mental health issues, you started working on those only after you had them housed. Well, from what I can gather and what it states in the new executive order, that's no longer going to be the case. Now, the focus is going to be on mental health and substance abuse and treatment for that. And based on the executive order wording, it appears that the assumption is that everyone, or the majority rather, I should say, of people on the streets either have substance abuse issues or mental health issues. One of the ways they're planning to disband homeless encampments is not just to go after people who are living in tents or who are living under overpasses or things like that. Based on the wording of this executive order, they're also going to be going after people who are parking overnight while they sleep in their vehicles. And that's van life, folks, and nomads. In the executive order, it laid out about how it would be determining what cities might be receiving grants to help with homelessness within their boundaries or their borders. Now, we know that a lot of cities have had financial problems, so they're going to be looking to get money from the federal government. In order to be eligible for discretionary grants
up a little bit
to help with fighting homelessness, it's towed on a Friday and you can't get it back till a Monday. And oftentimes in places, they double the storage fees on weekends. San Francisco has already started putting a 2-hour limit on how long certain vehicles, particularly RVs or vehicles that look like RVs, can park in the city. And I see that spreading to other cities. So if a policeman sees someone who they deem to be homeless and loitering or camping in their car even, will they be able to just say, you know what, you look to be high or you look to have mental health issues, and we're going to take you in and see about getting a court order to institutionalize you? I mean, do you see how particularly scary this could be? Who is going to determine? Are these people who identify someone as homeless? First of all, who decides who's homeless and who's not? And what kind of training will someone have to determine if a person has serious substance abuse problems or mental health issues? I mean, who hasn't gone through a depression of some sort at some point in their life, or maybe PTSD from some traumatic event? And will that present as serious mental illness that will get you institutionalized? It doesn't say anything in the executive order as to how long it could be. Could it be days? Well, it wouldn't be days, because it's highly unlikely you'd go to court and get a civil commitment for a few days. You could just do a 72-hour hold. So it'll be likely months. Could it even be years? And if there are hundreds of thousands of homeless people, and the presumption is that the majority of them have mental health problems and or substance abuse, where are you going to get all the beds to put them in institutions?
Now I'm going to stop it right there. It says, where are you going to get all the beds? Well, if you're up on game, they don't want to get no beds. They're just gonna put those people to death and kill them, because they're gonna see that if these people are homeless, mentally ill, or just had a hard time, they're just gonna kill them. And you know the saddest thing about this, I'm in my 40s, and I remember when I was, probably like 22, I would actually see some veterans from the Vietnam War that were homeless in D.C. And they was old men. They served this country. And you're telling me that there's even people now that served in the Gulf War and the Iraqi Baghdad War not too long ago, because I have friends that served over there. And to see that you might have some of them that have mental illness, you're willing to take your own soldiers, put them somewhere, knowing that they served this country, and you're basically going to treat them like that. You're just going to lock them away. That shows you how this country feels towards its own people. And just imagine how they're going to feel towards God's elect. See, all the stuff that's being done is being done to shake down this system. And imagine if you're going through hard times. They're going to try to deem you as crazy. Because in their hard time, in their time, in their mind, they're going to be like, well, why are you living in your car? You could plead to the judge and say, well, look at the prices of the food, the prices of rent. That's another reason why they're also trying to make these 15-minute cities. And they're making these new homes that are basically 2-bedroom homes that they want to roll out. Some of them are square, some of them look like bubbles. And they all close to one another. See, that's why they also want to have that's also why they want to do away with these apartments apartments, but it's also why they made apartments, to control people. People have to start waking up, and especially for those that are, have problems with other races. I'm not going to say the R word, but those that have problems with other people, you really need to wake up, because this land that you thinking is going to last forever is about to crumble. Seriously about to crumble. Because if you can't live in your car just to get back on your feet, that shows you the type of country that we're living in. But the scripture says that they will make themselves seem as if they are a lamb. But they're not a lamb. They're a goat. Nothing but a raging wolf, seeking to devour. And this is what they're doing. They are most definitely seeking to devour. And this really, how I look at this here in this order, I think about the elect. That's the first thing I think about. It's always the first thing I think about is the elect. And the reason why I think about the elect is because it's going to come a time when they try to say that we got to take this MOTB, that we're going to lose our homes. We're going to lose our jobs. And then if we're living in our car and stuff like that, they're going to try to say we're mentally ill if we're sleeping. I mean, even if you can't even have your car sitting for 2 hours. So imagine you trying to run your car around the block. Let's say that you got a family, right? Let's say that you're working, right? And you ain't got no place to go. You will literally almost have to sleep in a garage or something, some type of way to try to play the game or something like that, or sleep at your job. Because it's going to get down hard out here. And then jobs are going to be hard to have. I want to bring out some scriptures right here. This is the book of Isaiah. We're in chapter 10. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. They're prescribing this nonsense. Knowing that they made this system like this. They made the minimum wage not be the minimum. It should be the minimum that you need to survive, the minimum for a house, the minimum for anything. It has never been the minimum. But this is what they prescribe. Verse 2, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people. See, that's why I talked about the elect. Because this applies to us. This is what we're going to be going through. This right here. Some of us brothers are living good now. We're taking care of our children, taking care of our wives, taking care of ourselves. Just imagine a brother, right? A single brother. Because we already know it's going to be hard on the brothers that got children and wives and stuff. We already know how that's going to go down. But just even still imagine a single brother. You a single brother, you ain't got no kids. You know, you're real deep into the faith. I mean, Yahweh going to bless you no matter what, because you're one of the hopefully elect. And you go to work, let's say you do construction, right? You do construction. After you do construction, you work your 8-hour shift. You might even work 10 hours that day, maybe 12, all right? So it's time for you to sleep. Let's say you do construction. You can't sleep on that job site, man. The only person going to be on that job site is security. So now where can you go to rest your head? And now, if you have noticed, with most of these neighborhoods, they have these parking permits. Because when I was in construction, to try not to park in the parking garage, because I don't know where y'all live at, but I'm from the DC area, man. Back, I would say around 2001 to 2016, that stuff was around $23. At the minimum was $17 per hour. That's what it was. We used to carpool. So this is 2025. I don't even know what the prices is now. I don't even do construction no more. I do other stuff, but I'm still in that field. But basically what I'm trying to say is, imagine you getting off work from construction and you didn't work your 12 hours and you need to get some sleep because you don't want to get hurt on the job and you out there. And now every street going to soon start having parking permits. I even seen with tiny homes that people will rent out people's driveways just to have their tiny home in someone's driveway. And they will rent out someone's driveway. It's going to come to that too. But just imagine. You can't park on any street. And then you have police patrolling these streets, looking to give you a ticket. And if they see you in there sleeping, or you sitting over there for 2 hours, they're going to ask you, why are you here? Now you're going to get pressed. Now they're going to want to search your vehicle. Now they're going to want to implant drugs or weapons in your vehicle. It's going to be hard. Even for a single brother out here. Now imagine you got a family, and let's say you hit hard times. And now you got to live in your van. And I even seen people take FedEx trucks and UPS trucks and convert them into mobile homes. But you can't keep that logo on that truck. You got to take it off. So imagine you trying to park that somewhere. They're going to crack down on that. And imagine if you got to park somewhere like way away from the city. Imagine you commuting every morning. And you're really going to only get like 3 hours of sleep. And imagine your car get towed. Your car get ticketed. That stuff going to add up. When I see this stuff, yes, I do think about the less fortunate. But the first thing I'm always going to think is about my brethren. And Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai is going to look out for us. But that's something to think about. It's something very much to think about. I'm also going to turn to this other scripture. Habakkuk 1. All right. All right. Excuse me. I was in deep thought. Let me pause the video real quick. All right. So I'm gonna bring this out. Habakkuk 1:16. Therefore they sacrifice unto their net, and burn incense unto their drag, because by them their portion is fat, and their meat plenteous. 17. shall they therefore empty their net and not spare continually to slay the nations. A lot of people have given their stuff to America and sacrificed everything for this place. But they continuously slay this nation. And this nation, you got other people that suffer, but they're really slaying it for the elect. Because they know the elect is among them. So every time they pass these laws, you need to have in mind, these laws are always going to affect the elect way more. Because they want to slay the nation of the brethren. That's what they want to do. They're looking for that way to do that. And that is their goal, to do such a thing. And they have always done that. So every time when I look at a law is passed, I always say, this is pointing towards the elect. As we look in Proverbs chapter 14, 31, he that oppress the poor reproaches his maker, but he that honoreth him that hath mercy on the poor. These people have no mercy on the poor. And they sure enough oppress the poor of his maker. They have always tried to oppress the elect. I'm always going to say first the elect. Because like I said, any law that's passed is always going to affect the elect. But with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, he's going to make a way. But that doesn't mean it's not going to have any type of hard times or it won't be any type of test that will go on. So it's always going to be that way. Always. And it's something that people really need to think about when these laws are being passed. And I even seen today, which I'm going to do on a separate video, that they were talking about with SNAP food and all this stuff. And they mentioned again about these watches. That they want to pass out these watches. And that's another form of the mark of the beast. Alright, so this right here is Proverbs 21. I'm going to start in 12. The righteous man wisely considereth the house of the wicked. Now, I'm going to pause it right there. The reason why I'm bringing this out, because as it says, the righteous man wisely considereth the house of the wicked. We know who is the house of the wicked. That is Edom. That is the house of the wicked. We considereth their ways and how they do things. But God overthroweth the wicked for their wickedness. So Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to overthrow them. They might be living it up, thinking, "Hey, we gonna get them where it hurts." That's what they're thinking. But God is going to overthrow their wickedness, and it's not going to last forever. Verse 13: Whoso stoppeth his ear at the city of the poor, he also shall cry himself but shall not be heard. So when it's Edom's time to go through their punishment during that 1,000-year reign, we're not going to have no mercy on them. Because we're going to think about these are the same people that ruined the whole earth. These are the whole people that persecuted the prophets. These are the people that showed no mercy when they knew, as it's brought out in the book of Obadiah, when it talks about you seen your brother go through these things and you encouraged it. You even say these are where the people are at. There's going to be no mercy brought upon you whatsoever. You're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with that. And they're going to be looking for someone to have mercy. They're going to be looking for someone that says, he shall cry. He also shall cry himself, but shall not be heard. Because we ain't trying to hear that. Just like how you see it in movies and plays, you hear people say that. We ain't trying to hear that. And I like how the scripture brought it out. But shall not be heard. Because we ain't trying to hear that. We are not trying to hear that whatsoever. A gift in secret. That's what's going to be. Reward in the bosom. Strong wrath. That's how it's going to be. Verse 15. It is joy to the just to do judgment. That's how it's going to be. Man, it's going because we're going to be justified. See, when Edom was doing their work, they wasn't justified. We're going to be justified to do this judgment. It is a joy to the just to do judgment. It's going to be joy. Can you imagine that day? Imagine, brothers, closing your eyes and vision. When we got a hold of Edom and we're passing judgment on them, not doing the same wickedness that they did to us, but doing the judgment. See, it's the difference between wickedness and judgment. Judgment is just. Wickedness is unjust. They did unjust to us, fed us to alligators, whipped us uncontrollably, slept with our women, raped our women, cut our genitals off. Certain things we're just not going to do. But they're gonna feel that judgment. But destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. That's what it says in 15. It's going to be to those workers of iniquity. Those that's ruining the earth. Those that's passing this bill. Those that's passing this bill. Not allowing people to sleep in their cars for a refuge. For a way to try to have a place to live. To not to be in the rain. These people don't want to show no mercy whatsoever. Bear with me. And I like how it brings it out in 17 as well. Right there. He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. Be quiet. Because they love their pleasure. They love pleasure of doing wickedness. They love pleasure of living the high life. Hey, we live in the best houses. We got the best riches. We don't have to suffer like those other nations do. But what does it say in Proverbs 21:17? He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. And in that day, Edom is going to be very, very poor. They're going to see what it is to be brought down. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. They won't be rich. Verse 18, the wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous, and the transgressor for the upright. They're not going to see the light of day when it's their time for judgment. They're not going to see it. It's going to be very, very hard for them. Very hard. When they want to pass this decree of keeping people from not being free, and this is really the sign of the last days. Now this is Proverbs 19:17. He that hath pity upon the poor leadeth into the Lord, and that which he have given will he pay him again. I like that verse. Just imagine, a lot of people have money, but decide, well, if I give this money, I'm going to lose my money. I got bills to pay. Even if you got bills to pay and you give to the needy, you will always get it back hundredfold. I always encourage people, you must give. You must. You have to. You have to give. If you see your brethren out there, your brother might be out there with a mental illness, really going through it. You trying to tell me you can't give up $5, even $3, even a chip and a soda, so they can have something to eat for that day, something to drink. Look how it's brought out. He that has pity upon the poor. Leadeth unto the Lord. You can't lead. You can't get nothing of you led to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai if you're not going to have pity on the poor. Because if you're not going to have pity on the poor, who should have pity upon you when that day when you become poor? And that's how I always seen it. When I see people in need, you have to give back. You have to. And it always says that you're going to get it back. So even if you give, you're going to get it back. And that he that haveth given, will he pay him again. You're going to get it back. You're not going to lose anything. You're actually going to get rewarded. And that's what people don't understand. By you doing the right thing, the Father sees it, the angels see it, and the onlooking person that you don't think watching you sees it. That's why you must give. You must. And that angel that watches over all of us, everybody got their own. Everybody got their own guardian angel, and they writing everything down. They say, yeah, he walked past this person, he didn't give. He didn't give to him, he didn't give to her. Especially if you got it. How I always had it, I always had to give. I always had this mindset. If I got it, I'm giving. That's just how I'm going to do things. I can't be like those that have it and just don't want to give. I mean, how can you have a mindset like that? I seen this one homeless guy that was digging in the trash can, and he was a Jake. And I said to myself, "Nah, man, I can't let this go down like this whatsoever." Rush home. And I ain't getting no junk food. I got some real food.